come to lesson 7. Today we cover 3 objectives. The first one is the idea of death can save many lives. The second one is that you understand that different types of purpose. And the main point is that how to find out your own purpose in life. Okay. So there are 3 points to cover.
I have 3 copies of this. Anybody who did not download?
Everybody knows Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah.
About 2 or 3 days ago, he resigned as the CEO. Now, way back in 2005, he gave a convocation address
Yeah, I
at
heard that.
Stanford University.
That was very good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to mention a few ideas from that talk. Okay. The first point I want to mention is that you mentioned about there's 3 stories, but I just want to highlight 3 points. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Okay? You have to do something you love. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle for anything less. Okay, you have to do what you love, and don't settle for anything less. And with all matters of heart, you will know when you find it. Right? It's something like how you know which one is the true love, right? Or what work you really love. So when you find it, you know it. Like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as years roll on. So keep on looking until you find it. Don't settle for anything less. So he said, look into your own heart and follow your heart, pursue your dream, and don't settle for anything less. That's a pretty high standard, right? The second point, important point I made is that when I was 17 years old, I read a quote that went something like that. If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll almost certainly be right. So it made such a great impression on me since then that for the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, will I want to do what I'm about to do? It's a simple question, right? You look in the mirror. If today were the last day of my life, do I still want to do what I'm about to do? If the answer is no, you better think about changing your job. Okay? I mean, some criteria and to call mirror test, right? Now the last point is most relevant to today's discussion is that remembering that I will be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever learned to help me to make big decisions in life. Why? Because almost everything, all the great expectation of pride, fear of embarrassment, fear of failure, all these things will fall away in the face of death, leaving only what really matters. That's why I say the idea of death saves many lives. Because if you spend your life chasing after expectations, external reward, recognition, so you know that one day they'll all fall away. What will remain is that you've done something you've done something important with your life. That's what really matters. Okay. Now, this is Steve Jobs is a remarkable guy. He dropped out from school after 6 months in college. And he knew exactly what he wanted to do with his life. You know, he wanted to change the world through technological innovation. Remember the famous Super Bowl ad? Remember the first? when Apple just started, he had the guts to have a commercial during Super Bowl featuring a little David challenging the huge Goliath with IBM. And his ambition was to knock down IBM, what they did. And those days people laughed at him, right? He was a little kid. And now he's way bigger than IBM. Right? So, but then he's a very gifted person. Not everybody is gifted, as fortunate as Steve Jobs. Okay? Now, another person is in a very different arena, Jack Layton. Now, Jack Layton, the 5 or 3 days ago, hi Joy. He wrote the last letter to the Canadians. He said, all my life I worked to make things better. Hope and optimism have defined my political career. At my time in political life draws to a close, I want to share with you my belief in your power to change the country for the better. We can make Canada better, make it a country of greater equality, justice, and opportunity. Now, you might not agree with his ideology. He wants to bring socialism into Canada, right? That's his ideology. But you have to admire the guy. He has a single purpose in life, that is try to make Canada a better country. You know, in the beginning, there was what you call NDP, NDP, right? So he entered politics as a councilman in Toronto, right? And spent his whole life in politics with one aim, one purpose, to make Canada a more equitable, more just society. Now, when we look at these two people, we know that what drives them and what motivates them in the face of obstacles and cancer and death, what motivates them is a clear sense of purpose. They know what they want to accomplish in life. Now, if you know what you want to accomplish with your life, then you're miles ahead of your colleagues. Now, most people in our society, you know, they're pretty practical. Say, well, more children or young people say, I want to get a good job, make a good living. That is as far as they would think. I want to get a good job, make a good living. Now, that is not really, the purpose of life is not making a living, right? I mean, you need to make a living, but there has to be more than making a good living and making a living. So if you're always thinking it's to do with making a living, and then you will not live a very fulfilling life. So any questions so far? Just declare that. This true well-known quote. Now here's my question. What makes one's life rich in poverty, another life unfulfilling in abundance? Why does some people live a happy life, fulfilled life, who have no money? And there are people who are loaded with money, they're miserable. Why? Why? So I said the answer may be found in terms of purpose. The effect of survival depends on it. Now, here is, now before I talk about my study, okay, this is some study I did years ago. Now this is a story about 3 contractors, you know, like my friend Shaw is there, he's a contractor. So 3 contractors are doing the same thing, right? So they were involved in building a church or cathedral. So a reporter asked 3 guys, well, what are you doing here? I said, well, I lost my job, so I couldn't find anything better. So I'm just temporarily, work as a construction guy to make some money, right? The first guy. So he's there because he wants to make a living, all right? He lost his job, right? He will be an engineer or whatever. He now work as a construction worker, make some money. The second guy said, well, that's my career, right? I've chosen construction, contracting as my career. I want to be a successful contractor. Right? But that's fine, right? He had a career in mind. The third guy said, oh, I'm so happy to be involved in this project. I'm building a temple of worship. Okay, so to me, it's more than just making money, more than a career. I'm involved in something with a higher purpose. I'm building a temple of worship, so people from all over the world can come here to worship God. So that gives me real joy.